I'm back with Mario Andretti, a world champion race car driver and now world-class wine producer and maker in Napa Valley. Mario, we were talking about the parallels between the race car driving world and the winemaking world. What surprised you most about making wine?
Well, I'm not sure that I had too many surprises per se that did not anticipate. But ultimately, though, is how tough and how competitive the business is. And I'm not sure that I was that naive not to know that. But once we got in it, I think it really brings it home to you. Uh, and and also for people to take us seriously, because you have so-called, so many celebrities having their wineries or being part of a winery, and everybody participates in a different way. As I said, it could be a licensing deal, and where the celebrity probably never even saw the winery, and there are
Right.
other situations. So everything sort of has a potential tendency to look like a gimmick, if you will. So it took a long time, several years, to sort of get the industry to accept the fact that we're for real. We're there. We're all in on this, and it's not just superficial. So the surprise, to come back to your question, was how long really it took for the industry to take us seriously. The industry, I mean the distributors, not just the customer at large, but the distributors. And I think we've made many inroads in the last few years where, some of the naysayers, they're not going to be around too long and all that sort of thing. And here we are, and we're doing very well. And we're proud of that as well. So again, even though, for my part, even though I'm away, I live in Pennsylvania, the winery is in Napa Valley, I'm almost daily contact with either, not the winery as much, but the management of the winery and what's going on. And we have a great small little group that we really get along. We sort of, we have no problem communicating properly and understanding each other on a lot of things and a lot of fronts. So,
And that teamwork, I'm sure, really helps. But you're talking about how competitive the industry is. Just again, drawing another parallel, you were the first person to break the 250 mile per hour barrier at Indianapolis. Is there any strategy or equivalent that you used in the wine world to be super competitive, other than, of course, delivering longevity, quality in the bottle, those sorts of things? But is there anything where you put the pedal to the metal, so to speak, in the wine world and your approach to it?
well, I don't think it's the same thing in that respect. By the way, it wasn't quite 250 miles an hour. It was a little bit slower than that, but the straight line speed was probably that. Um, but in the wine business, again, how do you put the pedal to the metal? What do? You try to do as many of the right things as possible. For instance, I have the proper barrels. I have the good barrels to age the wine in, or doing all of those elements correctly, having the winemaker understand, when do you harvest the wine, when is it ready to be harvested, to have the best acidity, pH, and so on and so forth. And there's a scientific way of doing that, or there's a way that through basic experience, which I prefer, by the way. And again, it's all those elements. You can only do all the things that are the best way to go about it, and hope that nature will take care of itself later. So there are many more things that you have no control over in a wine business that you do in a racing business. So it's really tough to equate the two in that respect.
Sure. Okay. Well, you have some of your wines there. Maybe you can hold them up so that we can see them on the camera and just talk a little bit about the overall style of the wines that you produce, because I know it's quite a range.
Well, all right, let's start with the reserve. Reserve, if you can see it, can you see it okay?
Up a little higher if you
Up a little
could. Yep.
higher?
There you
How's
go.
that? Okay.
Yep. Uh-huh.
This is, and we call it Montona, which is in the name of the town where I was born uh, back when, and sort of brings back all the sweet memories, of course. And this is, as you say, our reserve, which is our premium wine. And we have a Cab, we have a Merlot, and we have a Chardonnay. But also with the reserve, we also have a Zinfandel Port, which is right here.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Zinfandel Port, yes. And again, this is probably the wine, the varietal that you babysit with the most care, you know, new barrels and so on and so forth. I think Bob Pepe could probably give you a much better description of what he does and why this is our premier wine. But the taste, obviously, you know, Cab, you know, it's just a fantastic Cab in my opinion. So you'll have to taste it yourself and then give me your opinion. I won't influence you.
Absolutely. And do you have the wine there that you poured at the 100th anniversary of Ferrari in Italy?
No, I don't. Actually, it was a Sangiovese.
Okay, but that you made it, right?
Yes, oh yes, indeed.
Okay.
Yeah, we had, that was our own Sangiovese, and actually that's somewhat of a specialty of Bob Pepe because he and his father, Robert Pepe, were the ones that planted the Brunello grape in Napa Valley. They were the first ones to do it in 1986. At least that's what I understand. And it's a varietal that I like it to be our flagship. Except a lot of people have a tough time pronouncing that, Sangiovese. So,
say it often enough or drink it often enough.
Yes, say it often enough. They like it, yes. And it, actually, our 2009 release received a gold at the Orange County International Show and best of class. Great. Very proud of that. And you know, obviously, those are the trophies that you're most proud of, and we have all those, you know, all of those obviously prominently displayed in our tasting room.
And did you pour that blind at this Ferrari tasting? I mean, a previous vintage of it?
Oh, absolutely. We actually was very informal. It was sort of a family dinner. Well, family, I should say. Actually, even the head of Fiat, Gianni Agnelli, was there, and so I decided to bring a bottle along, and so we tasted it against some of the local Sangiovese, which they enjoyed, but again, as I said, we did it blind tasting. I said, I'd like you to taste some of mine. We'll mix it about and see what you think, and they preferred ours.
Wow.
And I called Bob immediately. I said, Bob, you have no idea what you did for me.
Sounds like the judgment of Ferrari, like a version of Paris. Yeah.
All of a sudden, they don't care about my driving.
That's great.
That's great. Drink our wine.
And where did that tradition of shaking the champagne over your head and spraying the winner after the competition, where'd that start?
Started in Le Mans. In France in the 24 Hours of Le Mans, and actually the driver that started it was my good friend Dan Gurney. When he won it, I think it was 1967 when he did that, and that's something that sort of stay with us, and every form of the sport uses that. Not everybody has the champagne, but whatever they have, they shake it, you know, and spray it all over. So yeah, that's when it started.
And did someone use milk or something instead of champagne once?
Well, that's the tradition in Indianapolis, and that's because the driver in 1911 that won the first 500, Ray Haroon, when he was asked what he would prefer after the race, and he said, I like a glass of milk. And that tradition stayed there. And so whether you like it or not, when you win Indianapolis, the first thing you get is milk.
Wow. Okay, that's got to be encouragement to go on the others.
And when you win that race, milk tastes pretty good, to be honest with you.
I'm sure anything would. That's great. I'm sure the milk people were onto that for their marketing campaign.
Oh, yeah, more and more.
Mario, maybe is there one wine there that you really like to enjoy that has a special significance that you make? Maybe you can talk to me about your favorite place to enjoy one of your wines and who would be with you.
Well, quite honestly, wine is at our table whenever we have all dinner together or whatever. I always have a glass of wine with my dinner, basically every day. I'll drink at least 1 or 2 glasses of wine, and I pretty much stay with that part. But for me, I'm going to plagiarize something that Bob Pepe says about the varietal. The varietals are like my kids. Any given day, I enjoy one more than the other. Now, if you would ask me, say, okay, you can only have one red for the rest of your life or one white wine, and I would have to say I would go with a Cabernet Sauvignon. I like the big wines, and the Chard. However, I love the Sauvignon Blanc. At a different time, I prefer that, or a Pinot Grigio. But if I was only going to have one, those are my 2 preferable varietals.
Okay, and just to wrap up, one final question. If you could share a glass of wine with anybody in history, living or dead, who would that be, and why?
Probably Pope Francis right now.
Wow. There's an interesting choice. Why?
Because I know he will enjoy it. I'm sure he will enjoy it.
He probably needs a good drink and not just milk.
He needs a darn good drink.
That's great.
So you just gave me an idea. That's what I'm going to do next time I'm in Rome.
Send him a bottle, yeah. That's great. Maybe you can get it blessed. Mario, thank you so much for joining me today. It's been a pleasure chatting with you about both of your careers, and I wish you all the best with the wine one, which carries on.
Thank you, Natalie. Thanks for having me. Enjoyed the chat.
Okay.